And then I want to work with the mala beads. If you don't have mala beads, that's fine. You can just, we're just gonna do a mantra recitation. So if you don't know what a mala bead is, it's just 108 beads. And we use this mala bead to concentrate the mind. So you're gonna hold in your left hand, and you're gonna bring your right hand just kind of like this. So as it moves, you move through it. And you're just gonna bring your thumb, index finger over each bead. So as you recite one time, it's one bead. And then you do another time, another bead, and so on. And would like us to do this particular mantra. I'm gonna light the candle to connect. So I'm gonna do Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. It's a very powerful Buddhist mantra for the really the excellence of the human incarnation. It exalts the excellence out of the human incarnation. So whatever excellence that you're needing in your life, it can be subtle, it can be expansive, it can be just healing your mind, it could be healing your body, it could even be sending this mantra, which we're all connected, so you can send this even out to your loved ones, your friends, your family, as to help them with their incarnation. I feel this mantra is somewhat equivalent to the 25th Pari we work with a lot in the Kundalini Yoga. 25th Pari is very similar. It kind of exalts the human incarnation. It brings out the best in the human incarnation. So if you have any karmas that from past lives or ancestral, the 25th Pari is really good at like bringing out the excellence, helping you to break through any of the karmas that is written into to your arc line or your aura, right? That you're fated to have these kinds of misfortunes, or fated to have these kinds of adversities, these difficulties, is a way to kind of clear it and heal it entirely. And Nam Myoho Renge Kyo very much does the same thing. It's a Buddhist mantra, and it works with just helping you to really hold an excellence, real excellence. So I remember, who is it? Tina Turner worked with the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to bring the excellence out of her human incarnation, and the karma that she was, dealing with was, Ike Turner and the whole abusive situation that she undergoed for years. And that you'll find similar kind of stories from all kinds of people who who are in like abusive relationships, or who are really in like poverty, who are about to go bankrupt, who are all in this debt, and they work with these type of mantras, and all of a sudden you start to see there's a strength. They start to have a strength that they didn't have before. It's a spiritual strength. With Tina Turner, I feel like that spiritual strength helped her to get out of that situation. I think Ike Turner is deceased now. And I remember looking at one of his photos, like, I guess before he died, of like drugs. And he looked really bad. Like, he looked like really like drained. He looked like he had all these like demonic entities attached to him, and it was just not good. And this mantra, when you look at Tina Turner, I mean, she looks, I think the last time I saw her was like on an MTV Cribs like years ago. And she had some kind of house in like the Mediterranean, and she was with her soulmate. She actually met a man, a soulmate. And then she also, I think she took care of all of Ike's kids, like, emotionally, financially supporting them. I think he had a lot of kids. I don't know how many, but maybe like minimum of like 6 or 7. I don't know. It was a lot. So her kids and his kids, and mantra can really do all the difference. The Ike Turner pathway, very like drugs and not so good, right? Drugs, alcohol, a lot of sex, abuse of money, abuse of power, addictions, entities, all this, kind of stuff, multiple women and in that kind of fiasco. And Tina Turner, just a simple choice to just practice one mantra. One mantra. It's not, we work with a lot, but just one mantra. It can make a huge difference in your whole incarnation. From like being in an abusive relationship for years and years that is just destroying you and maybe even take your life. That's how deep it's getting. To all of a sudden you clear that in this single lifetime, you clear that and you step into a completely different incarnation. That's possible, right? Where you're in a path of where you will be most likely killed in this lifetime because of the karma, right? You're dropped into this karma, this abusive stuff, and one mantra that you recite in a devotional way can completely just pull you out of that and pull you into a completely different incarnation. So I wanted to bring that awareness so that maybe you can, if it's not, if you know someone who's in, real, like not doing so well mentally, emotionally, financially, you can hold this in your aura. So when you come in, even if you sending a thought to them, because you have put this in your aura, you've put this in your arc line. Any person that gets a thought from you, that sees you in person, that is aware of you in some kind of way, either it's a business you have or it's something you sell like art or whatever it is that's in association with you, will actually heal them. And it'll actually, the power to put this mantra into their psyche, right? That we can do that. You drop this mantra to their psyche, and that happened to Tina Turner. She got the mantra from a friend. The friend, dropped this mantra into her psyche. And because Tina Turner was, receptive and wanted the desire to actually, move forward and clear this karma stuff, she actually was able to kind of absorb that mantra, right? She chose to absorb that mantra because she knew, we all know when we're in contact with a higher incarnation. We all know instinctually as human beings when we're in contact with a higher incarnation. And we also instinctually know when we're in contact with a lower incarnation, right? Because we don't feel good, right? And when we're in a contact with a higher incarnation, we just feel better, right? And we're not so stressed, and we're not so much anxiety, and we're not so weak and feeling like, trapped, right? When we're in contact with a higher incarnation, we just tend to feel a lot more, just there's possibility, the miracles. Okay, so I want to see in what way you can, of course, use this mantra to help you create excellence in this incarnation, but also, instill it in your aura that you can be in a curative aura. So that's not just you, right? The whole Buddhism and the Dharma and the Bodhisattva with this mantra is to create this sort of space for many people to benefit from your aura. Okay, and it does not necessarily mean you have to sit down with them and try to get them to do anything or try to explain to them. We really don't explain anything unless it's asked, right? We don't really try to force or get anybody or fix anybody. It's not that. We wait for the person to ask, right? It's like the angels. They can't help unless you ask, right? Same thing. We can't force people. We can't force people, and we definitely, all we can do is be an example, and all we can do is collaborate, which implies a two-way street and implies, a give and take. But it's not, we're holding people on our shoulders and trying to get them to awaken, right? That's no, right? It's like, I love the quote from Billy Blanks. It's like, if you don't got the will, I can't help you. Right? You have to have something inside of you, right? Right, Tina Turner, she had something inside of her because she's naturally a strong woman, right? And she's something inside of her that, had enough will to grab that mantra and to get enough merit with it to actually create major breakthroughs in her life. But you have to have the will to do it, you ain't got the will, I can't help you. And I think that all comes when you damage the psyche through alcohol and substances and even sex and these type of things. It makes it very challenging, but not impossible, to rewrite your fate of your life. Because all we have is this incarnation. People think that when you die, it's just like you get a clean slate in the next life. Like, everything is a continuation. It's not, okay, I'm just, next life I'll try it. No, right? And actually, it's recommended if you have the inspiration in this moment to do it. Because in the next lifetime, you may not remember. Okay, you may not remember, wait, I wanted to heal this. In the next life, you may not remember, oh, I needed to heal my relationship with my father. In this next life, your father that you need, is going to be a completely different person to you. It might not even be in that incarnation with you, but you'll be carrying that father wound from another life. So the point is like, if you're feeling the healing in this life, to do it in this life, and don't make excuses, right? Because some people spend their whole life in excuses, and then that excuses become regret. Because like, time is precious, and we all know. It's just we like to fool ourselves that we don't know, right? Because we're scared. Because this universe and Earth can be so. It can be intense. It can be very intense. The universe is not it's very intense. The sun is very intense. The Earth is very intense, right? I think when we go to space and astronauts, I think we realize, wait a minute, this is very intense. It's like life or death type of situation when astronauts, right, type of vibe with spaceships. But as you start to get more of an evolution, our idea of the intensity of space, where you're nervous, you're like cringing, is this rocket gonna get off the ground and not blow up? To eventually, it's like you're just gonna press a button and you're not even gonna think about it. You're not gonna be staring at the screen. I hope this rocket doesn't blow up. I pray. It's just gonna be, because you're gonna have enough evolution, right, that you're just going to press a button and just drink coffee and just watch it happen successfully. But the thing is, it's like, that's the thing, there's the try and the failure. But that's why we have to keep continuing to move forward, right? Because the try and the failure is our only way of really understanding manifestation and how to create something out of nothing. The only way we're ever going to have real rockets in space and these kind of spaceship stuff is because of the trial and the failure, right? And the person who's willing, or the people who are willing to go through immense tries and immense failures and immense tries and immense failures, to enough so that you gain enough evolution, enough kind of smarts, where you start to just you start to just have a sort of excellence in what to do, right? It's like, you just know today is not the day for the rocket launching. I just know, right? Because I have enough time and energy put into this that I can just know, right? So it's like scientific, it's like research, and then it just becomes intuitive, right? And then, intuitive also becomes scientific, Imagination is intuition, but the application is like the science behind it, the actual, figuring it out, problem solving. So, okay, here we go. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, 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 Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Inhale. Exhale. So it's like when the divine knows that you're sincere about really leveling up or breaking through or change or transformation, the divine will create absolute just miracles for you, right? If you're very sincere, right? But you have to be sincere, right? Because the universe is not wishy-washy. The universe is a response to you. So if you're wishy-washy and you're going back and forth with it, the universe is a response to that, right? The universe, right? But if you're very clear, like, that I really want to, you don't even know what it is. It could just be, I want some kind of breakthrough in myself or healing, or I really, want to create something for my life, or just to, upgrade my lineage, or, liberate myself and humanity in some way, right? Just, it's not so much you're saying it, right? You don't have to necessarily know what you want to do, but it's the sincerity and your expression and your relationship with it, right? People can talk all day long. I don't usually go for the talkers, right? And the people who talk about this, that, and the other. It's like the relationship. Like, what kind of relationship? Okay, liberation. What kind of relationship do you have with that? Right? Because I find that the most calm people tend to be the most liberated, and the most calm people tend to be the ones who have the most sincerity in what they're trying to do, right? There's a lot they're actually doing, right? Because when you think about it, when you're doing something, it's like when you start to get really good at energy, right? You start to understand that reserve of energy, right? We only have so many breaths in a lifetime, right? Right? So we can't, just spill it all in one thing. So when you start to get more masterful at energy, you start to understand it's very important to be calm, to preserve your energy, right? For it's like a rocket. It's almost, I love the rocket kind of, sort of analogy, because rocket, when you're like an astronaut type of vibe, you you're trained to be very conservative with how much energy you're using, right? You're not just going to spill it all in one little thing because you just, feel like it, right? Or it becomes very like, you're very intuitive, you're very aware of the kind of energy that you're using, right? Because if you really want to get that rocket ship to Mars, or catapult it into like Jupiter or something, you know you only have a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of breaths, and if you really want to get there, it's like you gotta make sure you're being resourceful. So the reason we practice these mantras, because it really does help us to really make every breath a liberation, make every breath all the energy we have in a creative projection for ourselves, right? Because so many people, they feel drained, or they're this just spilling out all this energy is because of their energy is just is being it's being depleted, right? It's like a rocket with holes in its energy, right? And that depletion, it's what causes a lot of this poison to get in. It's like a hole, right, in your rocket. It invites in the poison from the space. So it's like, not only you have people have these like kind of holes in their energy, but then they're also taking in this like poison, from this earth, right? Poison, it could be in the form of like negativity, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be sex, this poisonous kind of stuff. It could be belief systems, it could be people. I mean, all kinds of things on this earth, right? That, we've come from a dark age, so that there's a lot of waste. If you go in like certain countries, it's like there's trash rivers. That's a reflection of the kind of waste that we have within our own psyche. So you bet, like, in an age of, all these chemical stuff, you bet definitely there's a psychological as well, like a poisoning of the mind that can happen if you have these kind of energy depletions or energy holes in you, due to just kind of spinning off into anger. Anger is a big one. I think anger creates a real quick hole in us, a real big hole very quickly. And I think as we start to be more self-loving, we're going to be a lot more compassionate about the anger that we experience, and we're going to be a lot more having a relationship with the divine or angel spirit guides, just going to help us to really have more trust in the process of our life, right? Instead of getting angry because we're in some kind of competing, comparing, contrasting, or we're some kind of destruction because we don't feel safe, or we don't trust what's going on. So we feel very angry because we want to control, because we don't really feel we just don't feel like we're supported by the when you feel supported by the divine, it just feels a lot more that your life is not just you alone, and that can feel very damaging and very destructive if you have that mindset, because it just implies that when things don't go your way, it just can be such a big, you can almost destroy yourself because of it, which people have on this planet. So I'm going to leave you guys with this, and may the long time sunshine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on. Satam.